After the end of Adventure Time with Finn and Jake, now we have Fionna and Cake. The first episode opens with the two of them chasing the rat bus, which has kidnapped several people. While trying to escape, the rat bus accidentally drops a few of them, so Cake quickly flies down to save them, while Fionna punctures one of its wheels. That makes the rat bus furious and it turns back to attack her. But it trips over itself and both of them fall down. Luckily they land in a swimming pool, just as the rat bus is about to attack Fionna. Someone appears to save her, and it's the Ice Prince. He warns that the ice won't hold the rat bus for long, so Fionna rushes in and gives it a good beating, while Cake takes care of the people. After that, the Ice Prince invites the two to join him on magical adventures, but suddenly the alarm clock goes off. It turns out everything was just a dream. In reality, Fionna is just an ordinary girl busy with her daily life, and Cake is just a normal cat, after sleeping for another 10 minutes. Fionna tries to watch TV, but every channel is showing Cheers. Even though she wants to rest a little longer, it's time for work, so she gets up and changes her clothes. Fionna tells Cake about her dream, the one where they met the Ice Prince. At the same time, she notices that Cake's ears and nose have become colder. Cake even starts behaving strangely. Fionna thinks she's just hungry, but Cake refuses to eat. With no other choice, Fionna calls the vet, but they say they're only available at lunchtime. So Fionna brings Cake along to work so she can make it to the appointment on time. Right now she's working as a tour guide on a bus. She introduces the Betty Fountain, which was built 12 years ago, and then they move on to the aquarium. But when Fionna sees the penguins, she immediately thinks of the Ice Prince. She asks if anyone there knows about dream interpretation, because she's been dreaming of the Ice Prince lately. Marshall Lee teases her for it, saying she's probably still not over DJ Flame. Everyone else starts talking about their own dreams, except Cake, who seems to share Fionna's feelings. But when the cat spots an ice skating rink, she starts acting strange again. She even jumps onto Starchy and scares him. That's when Fionna's boss Queenie shows up. She says she's heard too many complaints about Fionna and wants to see if they're true. In the end, Fionna gets fired and has to return her uniform or lose her deposit. It seems like her life isn't going too well, since this is already her 5th job this year. On her way back, she's irritated and ends up snapping at 3 strangers who block her way. Then Fionna stops by a bakery, where she meets Gary, who is the male version of Princess Bubblegum. Seeing how down she looks, Gary tries to tell her about a new cake he's made, but before he can finish, Fionna's already taken a bite. He laughs and says, "I'll give you another chance to enjoy it, but this time eat it slowly." Suddenly Cake notices a mouse near the fridge, and as expected, she quickly catches it. But the owner, who is the female version of Peppermint Butler, scolds them for causing a scene. She criticizes Gary's new cake, comparing it to the shop's traditional one. Even the mouse doesn't like your cake, so stick to the old recipes. Gary looks hurt but doesn't argue since he's just an employee. Fionna almost forgets her vet appointment again, but Gary reminds her just in time. In her rush, she almost slips, and coffee spills on her clothes. That means she won't get her deposit back, which she needs to take Cake to the vet. Later, Marshall Lee tries the cake Gary gave Fionna and realizes it's actually really good. He suggests that she use the cake as a favor to ask one of his friends to help cure Cake. Now she's completely out of money, so Fionna asks for the address. It's in the city park, and the person she needs to find is named Ellis. There Fionna meets Hunter, another version of Huntress Wizard. Hunter leads her to a beautiful garden that he planted himself. At first, Fionna mistakes him for Ellis, but he says he isn't. In fact, Ellis is the male version of Lumpy Space Prince. He claims he can communicate with animals, but all he does is pretend to translate things Cake never said. Suddenly a blue light appears, which wakes Cake up. She goes wild and runs toward the light, then jumps into a portal inside an ice cream truck and vanishes. In episode 2, we are taken back to the time of the Mushroom War. At this moment, Simon and Marceline are running away from a group of zombies, and they have to hide in a sewer to avoid being caught. Simon is about to use his crown, but Marceline stops him. After a while, the zombies leave. Suddenly, Marceline's shirt button falls off, so Simon quickly takes out his sewing kit and sews it back for her. They share a quiet and pleasant moment talking to each other. Returning to the present, Simon seems slightly older. He begins his day by turning on Cheers, then prepares himself for work. Simon has transformed his house into a 20th century exhibition. When he asks if anyone has questions, a girl holding a copy of Fionna and Cake immediately raises her hand, but it seems she has visited many times before, so Simon ignores her and chooses a dog instead. The dog asks what the objects are, and Simon explains that they are phones. Suddenly, little Astrid asks why Simon never continued writing Fionna and Cake. He tries to avoid the question, but Astrid keeps pressing, making him uncomfortable. In frustration, Simon grabs the book and throws it into the trash, which makes her cry. Meanwhile, the dog starts rummaging around, and Simon has to stop it, feeling overwhelmed as he is already struggling with psychological issues and now facing more problems. Simon goes to the bathroom to relieve his stress. Afterwards, he closes the exhibition and retreats into the gold temple that he created. It seems that Simon is still looking for a way to bring Betty back, but the thing underneath the blanket warns him not to. Later, Simon visits a Candy Kingdom tavern to ease his mind, but when he sees the bartender putting ice into his glass, he immediately waves it away. The bartender prepares a drink without ice for him. Then the bartender asks Simon how far he has gotten in writing Fionna and Cake, but Simon says he doesn't want to talk about it. Suddenly a hand touches his shoulder. It's none other than Finn. Jake is gone, so now TV accompanies Finn. Simon admits that he is exhausted with Fionna and Cake, and that it was the Ice King who created them, not him. Living in the 20th century among modern people has been very hard for Simon. Finn doesn't want his friend to sink into depression, so he invites him on an adventure to improve his mood. However, realizing the original plan might be dangerous, Finn changes his approach. He leads Simon into the forest that Huntress Wizard had warned him never to enter. Despite the danger, Finn calmly sets up camp and tells Simon to catch some fish. Simon follows the instructions, but the fish he catches seem strange. Sensing something is wrong, Finn quickly uses a stake to finish it off, and although he feels a bit sorry for it, he still lets it go. Simon then tells Finn about his past adventures with Betty, and together they uncover many mysteries. Finn suggests that it's better to let go of the past to lighten the heart. Seeing that Simon is still troubled, Finn asks him to gather more firewood. Meanwhile, Finn continues eating, unaware that something is silently watching them. At the same time, Simon is out gathering firewood when he notices a strange-looking tree. He reaches out to snap a few branches, but the creature that had been watching Finn suddenly appears. Simon tries to scare it off, but to his shock the thing grows even larger. Luckily, Finn shows up just in time. Finn then hands Simon a knife, wanting him to experience what it feels like to hunt, but the bear suddenly sprouts another arm, forcing Finn to quickly strike it down. Even after everything that happened, Simon still doesn't feel any better, so he lies to Finn so that he can go home. Finn tells him to follow the river and he'll eventually reach the human island. The two part ways and Simon begins his lonely walk toward the human island. Along the way, he spots a little girl trying to pick an apple, and a nearby creature helps her reach it. The sight brings back memories of his time with Marceline. He thinks of calling her, but she already has her own life now with Princess Bubblegum. One a vampire who can heal herself, the other made of bubblegum. Their bodies can't be tattooed, which angers the tattoo artist, so Marceline ends the call. Everyone seems to have found someone. Yet Simon remains alone in this world. That loneliness makes him miss Betty even more. When he gets home, guilt washes over him for how he treated Astrid, so he picks up the Fionna and Cake book from the trash. Then we know that the thing underneath the blanket is actually Choose Goose. He mocks Simon for believing he could bring Betty back, so Simon clamps a photo of Betty between Choose Goose's legs and beak as part of a ritual to summon gold. As Simon performs the ritual, Choose Goose shakes off the clip and rambles about Fionna and Cake while Simon ignores him and continues the ritual. Then electricity strikes Choose Goose. The summoning seems to fail, but then Cake emerges from Simon's head. In the time room, a new pink button appears on the remote control. In episode 3, we see Finn and Jake escaping from a temple when a giant bird suddenly appears. The two of them fuse together and unleash a powerful slash that takes down the bird in one strike. Everything they have done so far is being watched by Prismo. Then a pink button appears and starts beeping, but Prismo does not pay much attention to it. Meanwhile, after Cake jumps into the portal at the ice cream truck, she completely disappears. No matter how hard Fionna searches, she cannot find her. On the other side, Simon notices that Cake seems to be trying to say something, so he finds a translation device for her, and Cake keeps calling Fionna's name. That makes Simon realize that Fionna and Cake are completely real. He asks how Cake ended up here, and she says she followed a song she heard. Simon tries to ask for more details, but that only makes Cake panic. She runs around wildly, knocks things over, and accidentally damages Simon's gold shrine. Suddenly, Astrid knocks on the door and says she wants to take back her Fionna and Cake book. Simon has no choice but to open the door, and Cake takes the opportunity to run outside. When Astrid sees the cat, she says Simon's pet looks exactly like Cake and forgets to take back her book. At the same time, Cake accidentally mistakes a stranger for Fionna. She becomes terrified again and runs off the edge of the human island. While falling, she sees the Ice Kingdom on one side and the Candy Kingdom on the other. Thanks to the soft ground below, she lands safely. Then she runs under a nearby tree and sleeps straight through the night. When morning comes, Cake wakes up to a completely new world. She feels hungry, so she wants to eat something. Just as she is about to catch a squirrel, she sees the ice thing, and that makes her ask the squirrel to take her to the Ice Kingdom. The squirrel agrees and even changes Cake's voice, seeing that she is hungry. It gives her an apple, but the apple is cursed and Cake becomes small. Now she has to follow the squirrel to the magic market to find a cure. Meanwhile, Fionna keeps searching for Cake in vain. She tells Marshall, Lee, and Ellis about how Cake jumped through a strange portal and disappeared. But Ellis says that is ridiculous and falls asleep. On the other side, Cake tells the squirrel about Fionna. You two must be family, right? Kind of, but I think she is more like a bossy roommate. My old roommates were like that too. They were so bossy that I had to leave the treehouse. Suddenly a big log blocks their path. It turns out that the squirrel's old friend set this trap to bring him back to the treehouse, but the squirrel refuses and says he would rather die than return. His old friends become violent, and just when they are about to take him away, Cake flies in to save her new friend. The little cat fights them off all by herself and scares the whole group into running away. Then Cake and the squirrel arrive at the magic market. Seeing so many new things for the first time makes Cake very excited. But the most important thing is still to find a way to return Cake to her original form. Because Cake saves the squirrel, the shop owner gives free fruit to the hero. But after taking one bite, she becomes too big, so the squirrel feeds Cake an apple to shrink her back down. Cake keeps trying other fruits and finally regains her original form. Then Cake continues toward the sparkling blue place, but after a few steps, she stops when she sees someone playing music. She sings along to the melody and messes up the magic market, making many people very annoyed. Soon a crowd gathers around to catch her. Meanwhile, Simon revives Chew's goose. He asks why he does that, and Simon says it's just because he needs something to make a spell battery so he doesn't have to think about Fionna and Cake anymore. Then Simon covers Chew's goose's mouth. On the other hand, Fionna is still looking for the gate even though she's exhausted. Luckily, it's time for the bakery to open, so Gary invites her in to rest. At the same time, Simon decides to perform the gulp summoning ritual again. Fionna immediately feels a chill in her head, and thanks to that she realizes the gate she's looking for has appeared, so she quickly jumps in. At first, Fionna thinks Simon is the Ice Prince, but when Simon sees her, he becomes very angry. He tries every way to bring Betty back but fails. Fionna feels sorry for him, but what she cares about most now is where Cake is. Then Fionna asks Astrid if she has seen a yellow and white cat nearby. Astrid says she has seen one that looks just like Cake in her book. It's really Cake, so Astrid asks Fionna to give her something of Cake so she can locate her. Astrid even lets Fionna ride in her motorbike to find Cake. She notices that Fionna is missing a bunny hat, so she gives hers to her. Then they both find Cake, seeing Cake being pelted with tomatoes. Fionna quickly runs to the rescue. The crowd gets angry because Fionna interferes with their business. But if anyone dares to touch her Cake, she's ready to fight back to protect Cake. As soon as Astrid realizes this, Fionna and Cake are real, they are immediately teleported away.